Hi, everybody, and welcome to this Orlando Shakes special presentation on Facebook Live and YouTube, our live streamed interview with the creative team of this year's PlayFest writingStatic Space. I'm Michael Laderman. I'm the Director of Public Relations at Orlando Shakes, and on behalf of the entire Orlando Shakes team, welcome to PlayFest 2021, presented by Basil Keeney with additional support from Frank Santos. Tonight, sit back, relax, and hear from the creative minds of those bringing this romantic drama to life, a reading that will take place at Orlando Shakes on Saturday, November 13th at 2 p.m. Also, we would love for you to join in on the conversation today from wherever you are. Leave us your questions about the production in the comments section, and we will try to get to a few of them. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the behind-the-scenes team of Static Space. Joining me tonight for this presentation are two amazingly talented individuals. First, the playwright of Static Space. Please welcome Kate Black-Spence. Kate, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you very much. And then please welcome our director of Static Space. Please welcome Nick Bublitz. Nick, how are you doing?
I'm so happy. This is so cool.
Well, I love that reaction. I need that for everything that we do.
No, this is exciting to be here. I'm very happy to have all of your faces on my computer right now.
Well, that goes both ways. Although, Nick, no offense, but Kate, I would like to start with you. Sure. Because the formal description of Static Space, and I want to get this right. This is what the formal description reads. Okay? Sure. Jamie lives a quiet life, making furniture in her Indiana barn. 250 miles above her, Col Noa Deakins is orbiting the Earth on a solo mission to clear space debris. When a ham radio glitches against all odds and brings these two women together, they find in each other's voices a connection worth fighting for. Now, that's a short description. So what would the longer, more detailed description be?
Well, I mean, without wanting to give too much more away than that, I think it is a queer exploration through uncharted territories for Jamie, and a really unexpected event that brings them together. And then the question of, sort of the bird and fish situation of, okay, but one's in space and one's in Indiana. How are we ever going to actually rectify the situation? Will they ever find their way to each other? And that's sort of what the play deals with.
Nick, when did you first read this play, and what were your first thoughts when you did see it?
Oh, that's an excellent question. So I read this play as a part of the submission process for PlayFest because in addition to directing this incredible script, I am also the producer in residence as well as the associate artistic director at Orlando Shakes. So the submission window for this whole play festival starts in January, where we read a bunch of different submissions, and we pull plays from the New Play Exchange, from contacts that we've had, alumni, all of that. And this play came onto my radar because up in Chicago, when I was living up there, I had the pleasure of meeting Kate and getting to know a little bit of her work previously with a play that she wrote about the women murdered by Jack the Ripper. And this is her second play, and she submitted it. We read it, and we were like, oh wow, this is incredible. And yeah, I think this play really examines human connection, and the lengths will go to fight for connection, and especially to those that we love. And I think in this whole experience that all of us are still in, kind of coming out of all of that stuff, isolation and the abundance of connection we can find either from that or not from that is like the themes in this show that I really, really deeply connected with, because we've all been locked down for a couple months.
Kate, what was the pure inspiration of this?
Well, so to be fair, this is, especially the first act, is based off of a book called Can You Hear Me by John Cannon, available online if anyone chooses to go purchase it. It's a great story. It's a beautiful, I describe it as just being like a real cuddle of a book. Like it's just something you can curl up with. You can read it all the way through and it never fails to support you where you are. It's a beautiful story. He reached out. I know John Cannon through, I mean, we've never actually met, but he knows me as an actor from some other things that I had done. And so he reached out to me and let me know that he was writing a book and he was basing one of the characters off of me, who also grew up in Indiana, like Jamie, and several other things we have in common. So he told me he was basing the book off of me. I then took the book when he gave me permission and I adapted it to a play. And I asked him if it was okay for me to really deviate at Act Two. The book is a beautiful, whimsical lullaby of a story, but for theater, we need a little more climax and conflict. And so
we get that, definitely.
Nick, when did you come into the mix on this, though? I mean, so the story was already there, and then Kate, did you find Nick, or Nick, did you find Kate? How was the connection made here?
We found each other. Yeah, so like I said, with the submissions for the PlayFest window, we are constantly reading scripts from January up until July. And as we started solidifying and actually figuring out what was going to be a part of the selection, I think the static space of it all, the opportunity presented itself as a window for me to be directing this project, and I jumped at that because it was something that I was very interested in helping shape as it continues on in the progress. That's what PlayFest is all about.
While you're going down that road, explain PlayFest as best you can to those that don't know of PlayFest.
It's a lot. No, it is in its most current incarnation is a 2-week festival of new plays. We are reading them from the script itself to an audience, and the process is actually very helpful for playwrights and those that are coming to watch these plays be developed. It's a really cool experience watching the transition from page to stage, and that's really what PlayFest does really nicely. Last year we had a digital virtual PlayFest. This year it's a little bit of both, where 2 plays will be virtual and 4 plays, including Static Space, will be in person. So we're back to that format for 4 of our plays. And yeah, PlayFest has existed for I think now like 21, 22 years, and from its birth has been a place for playwrights to shape and further work on their new play, and that's what we're doing here.
So we have a few weeks to go until we actually see and hear the reading of Static Space. Have all the artists come together? Have the actors, those that are going to be doing the reading, have they begun? Have you seen things yet? Have you heard things yet?
That's all. Yeah, we're currently in the middle of getting that all put together. Working in new play development at Orlando Shakes. That's our thing. We're getting all the teams assembled, and I think that we're getting the right teams for the right shows, and it's going to be really cool.
Kate, what's the process been for you to get it to where it is right now?
Well, it's wild. This is the first play that I've written alone, and because my previous play, Ghost of Whitechapel, was co-written. So this experience of writing in a vacuum during COVID, right? And it was 3 months into COVID, I think, that I started writing it. And so the idea of isolation was really resonating for me at that time. So I spent a lot of time just working on it alone. And I think that really helped shape a lot of it, but it also was very difficult to create in a vacuum. So I was able to put together a Zoom reading with my Chicago theater artist friends. when I had the first act done. And what was clear to me was that people were really excited about where Act 2 could go. The characters resonated. People were excited. The artists kept contacting me asking when Act 2 would be done. So we did Act 2. I finally got that up on its feet, or on Zoom's feet. Had the same sort of experience, and it still was just sort of lacking something. The actors are incredible, and I was really grateful to work with them. But there's just nothing like actually having actors in a room and being able to actually get on your feet and explore and try things. As someone who previously acted in a lot of world premieres, being able to articulate in the moment of like, I keep trying to get to this beat and I can't quite get there, and having the playwright in the room being like, yeah, it's because I didn't write that in. That's on me. And being able to have that kind of conversation, it really enriches a process. And so I'm really looking forward to that next step with Orlando Shakes.
Yeah, I think there's something so interesting about the fact that your play was developed in isolation and then over Zoom. And I think what's really cool is that we're now bringing it to an in-person audience for the first time. And, I think what we do really well at Orlando Shakes, if I don't say so myself, at PlayFest, is we cultivate not only the story, but the audience interaction. We are, our guests are being a part of the process. So, the talkbacks that we have, them watching it, they give us the feedback, and they are very they're very hungry for it. They really, since in the past PlayFest that we've had, a lot of people now understand the process of new works and how they develop, and people are biting at the chomp to like discuss and talk about stories. So I think that's really exciting to have from inception of the story, which was, in isolation, to actually bringing it more to a group of people. I think that's exactly where we need to be, and especially for this play.
Nick, how much, or how often, I should say, when audiences are attending PlayFest and they have that feedback, after it's done, after the reading is done, the playwright takes the critiques. How often do they make the changes? How often do they delve ahead and to go, you know what, that was an excellent idea?
Well, and I think what's so good about, or what's so awesome about the audience interaction and the guest experience that have interacted with PlayFest is they always approach stories with curiosity instead of judgment, because I think as artists and as people that enjoy art, the biggest thing that kind of stifles things is judgment. And curiosity really so a lot of questions are asked, and whether or not the playwright takes the suggestion or takes whatever sort of feedback they get and adjust it. I'm sure it's happened. I don't know how many times it's happened, but I know it's definitely in a moment of clarity, because I know any playwright that's been a part of PlayFest, when they hear their script out loud in front of an audience, they know immediately what works. So just for the audience hearing it out loud, the playwright's hearing it too. And even if the playwright has a specific idea that is not in sync with what the audience has to say, they know what to do no matter what. They're gonna pursue that route and that insight that they gained from this reading.
Kate, are you really looking forward to hearing what the patrons at Orlando Shakes have to say?
I'm so excited. I think it's the thing that's been missing for me so far. And I think that this play has a chance to really sing, but it can't do it without those resources right now, and without having an actual audience and actors who are professional and invested and ready to roll with it and really like crack open the text. I couldn't be more excited about it. I will also say that with my previous play, Ghosts of Whitechapel, it was audience feedback that led that play to, I think, the growth that it found. And I will never understand. There are plenty of writers who go out into the woods and write their bestseller, and they come back and they're like, it's done. And I don't know how. I know it's a thing, but especially I think the difference between theater and novels, maybe, it really needs to breathe with an audience. And so even just hearing where the audience has an intake of breath can be really informative for me.
Yeah.
Well, we happen to have a surprise guest who might also be able to help along with the process of Static Space moving forward. How about we welcome Roberta Emerson to the showgram. Roberta, how you doing?
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, guys. Sorry I'm late. I thought I took a faster way, and I didn't.
There's no fast way in Orlando.
Oh,
Apparently
no.
not. Yes. How are you?
Good.
We're doing great. We have been going back and forth for about 15 minutes, getting the insights of Static Space. And Nick was talking about the back end things about PlayFest as well. But from your perspective, Roberta, I'll pass this off then to you. How excited are you about this performance of Static Space beginning and working with Kate and seeing your cohort, Nick, working with Kate as well?
How excited am I? No, I don't know that you can put a measurement on that.
There we go. I like that answer.
Yeah. I mean, I'm obviously I'm new in the role, right? So this will be my first shot at this, and I think, we have not only do we have a diverse set of plays and playwrights and directors, but I think we have kind of the gamut of stories, right? The romance of Static Space is probably, I don't like to admit it, being a sucker for romance. So I do love it, right? That's my favorite part of it.
It's heartwarming.
It is. And especially now we need heartwarming, right?
We do.
We need heartwarming. So it's one of those pieces that, you can just love. And so I'm excited to have everybody get to hear that. And I think, with Nick, obviously with you at the helm, yeah, I don't know.
I want to I thank you for that. I also want to say Kate is too just as part of this oh my God, I defer to her as she shapes this story in all shapes and in every way that she wants to bolster these characters and to figure out what she needs to figure out. That's what I'm so excited to work with. It's the collaboration of the short amount of time we have for rehearsal that then leads into production for a reading that someone is hearing out loud for the first time.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Kate.
Oh no, I'm grateful to hear that other people are as in love with these characters as I am and have been since I read them in a book. It means a lot to me, especially given that John Cannon, wrote one of the characters, Jamie, modeled off of me. And I was worried at first. I was like, does she come off to, X, Y, and Z? I was, I think, a little bit more critical of her because I was worried she was so similar to me. And so hearing that other people find her and the story of her and Noah to be heartwarming is it means a lot. And I'm grateful. I think one of my big goals was to try to write a gentle queer story. I think that's really important. We see a lot of queer stories right now that focus on the trauma, and fair enough, it exists absolutely, and it should be discussed. But I also think that representation is important, and just normalizing love, I think, is also something that can be celebrated.
Absolutely.
Kate, do you look already ahead at possible next steps in the life of Static Space?
I do. Static Space has taken on a real life of its own. After I wrote the script, before Nick, I believe, took a look at it with Orlando Shakes, a friend of mine asked to read it, and he encouraged me to adapt it to a short film. The short film has now been accepted into some film festivals, and it'll be in 3 film festivals next month. And I'm not allowed to say what they are yet. I don't know when I get to say it, but yet, apparently. So the trailer for that just dropped today. So we're really excited about that. That was the first thing that I've ever in film written and starred in and directed and produced. It was a lot, but I think it was worth it. And I'm grateful to John Klein, who also was a co-director and co-producer on that.
So if there's one thing that each of you, so it's a question for each of you, that you could tell the audience one thing before they see this reading, what would it be? Maybe not one thing. Maybe that's too tight. But if you could narrow it down, you got 30 seconds to tell somebody about it. What do you say to them?
I feel like in marketing and discussing the story, obviously a lot of it comes out naturally. I would also encourage them to just wipe it all from their minds and come in with as a clean slate. I think just bringing themselves and not even preconceived notions or expectations to the story, I think is really the greatest gift that they could do me in seeing the show.
Yeah. I of course want everyone to see all of the PlayFest shows. This play in particular, I think, resonates with me in the sense that we all fight for the relationships that we have, whether it's, very gently or if it's passionately or whatever. But this play really explores the themes of isolation and human connection and who people are at their deepest, truest self. And what a way to kind of celebrate that joy of finding oneself in someone else, and really kind of throughout the last couple months that we've been going through, just in isolation itself, just like really finding that moment just as a breath, just to come up and breathe, I think is really something that you should be excited for. So definitely get your tickets. Hope that made sense. What?
I'm so excited you're directing it.
I know. I'm excited too.
But now you're making me excited, all the viewers excited. Now we're all going to race out and get our tickets for this.
Please do. Please get your tickets.
So we got potential next steps for Static Space. We have you guys working together as a team. Nick, real quick, talk about the rest of PlayFest that you alluded to, that people can come and see at Orlando Shakes.
Oh my goodness, there is so many opportunities. We have a 2-week, this is a 2-week festival happening in the first 2 weeks of November. In the first week, we have a Friday performance, which is a virtual reading of the play Affinity Lunch Minutes by Nick Malakaw. The second day of PlayFest is an afternoon matinee at 2 p.m. It's a mythical drama called En las Sombras by Jordan Ramirez Puckett. On day 3 of PlayFest, on that Sunday, we have a 7 p.m. show, 7 p.m. reading of What's Best for the Children by Idris Goodwin, which is a very dark, funny comedy. And in week 2, we have another virtual reading. That's that Friday. We have both virtual readings on Fridays. Of the second week is Last Ship to Proxima Centauri by Greg Lamb. And then we have Static Space on that Saturday at 2 p.m. And that finishing up for PlayFest on that following Sunday at 7 o'clock, we have GTFOH by Nikki Breaksilla, which is a relationship drama.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I did that all from memory. I'm very proud of myself. So yeah, I'm sorry, what?
I said it says a lot about the lineup that you can do it off of that.
Well, and I think Roberta hit it kind of out of the park with saying that we have such a diverse group of stories and really showcasing just a rich tapestry of stories really, I think, makes the both of us excited for PlayFest, and it should make everyone listening right now very excited because we are ready to go. We're ready to tell these stories. We want them heard and we want them developed. That's the brilliance of PlayFest.
Roberta, this is your first really PlayFest. I mean, you've been a part of PlayFest before, but not from the role of Director of New Play Development. How excited are you for Static Space and the rest of PlayFest?
So like I said, I'm very excited. Like I said, the team that we brought together, and forgive my internet, I'm actually on my phone now, so I don't know what that looks like, but I hope everybody...
You look great.
We're bringing together a wonderful team to basically support the playwrights, right? That's what it's about. They're in development of their pieces. New plays are exciting because it's the first time people get to experience stories like this. People get to experience playwrights. Hopefully that relationship continues both with the playwright and the people who are experiencing their show for the first time. So that's the part that I'm most excited about, really just allowing audiences to just hear these stories and be a part of what in essence becomes, you know, the beginning and the journey of the development of these amazing artists and these amazing plays. I think that's what draws me to new plays anyway.
Yeah.
Kate, I'm going to give you the last word on this to do the final sales pitch for Static Space and to help get folks out there to Orlando Shakes on Saturday, November 13th at 2 p.m.
That's pressure. I feel like everything that Nick has said has, I think, touched on everything that I could want to emphasize, but I also would throw in there, I think there might be some people that hear romantic drama and they think I can watch Pride and Prejudice at home, but I would encourage you to consider there is a lot more going on in this than simply romance and simply a drama. There is action. There are 4 characters. It's not just the 2 women. And everyone, I hope, to be a fully dimensional human being. And I can most guarantee that will happen with your help. So please come tell me what you need to see, and I will make the changes.
That's a good answer.
Well said. Well said. Well, again, it's Static Space. It's going to be held at Orlando Shakes Saturday, November 13th, 2 p.m. Order your tickets at orlandoshakes.org, O-R-G. We got to thank our presenting sponsor, Basil Keeney, with additional support from Frank Santos. Do not miss all the PlayFest readings that we have this year. Nick, you went over it before. We're not going to ask you to do it all again, but just got to keep in mind the Friday night readings are online only, and those are going to be held November 5th and the 12th. The Saturday readings are held at Orlando Shakes. That's November 6th and the 13th. They begin at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Also, please remember, wear your face masks once you enter Orlando Shakes. And for the time being, also bring a negative COVID test result, or if you prefer, proof of vaccination along with a photo identification. Nick, I mean, you've been around us for a while. Roberta, you've been a part of Orlando Shakes too over the years with different things. We've been waiting what is now 2 years to get the PlayFest readings back to the Margison Theater. So we're so very happy to be back.
That's so wild that you said that. That's very wild. I'm just processing that right now. Wow.
That doesn't seem like that much time went by, does it, Nick?
Oh, but it's a decade. Didn't you know, Michael? It's been a decade.
It certainly feels it as well. Kate, thank you so very much for joining us and for bringing Nick along on this ride with you, too. We're very much looking forward to this. And Nick, thank you for popping on with this. Roberta, great to see you here as well. And everybody else out there, we look forward to seeing you at Orlando Shakes for PlayFest 2021 and Static Space. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. And we'll see you next time that we do this, which will be sometime in the next week. Thank you so much.
Love that. Bye, everyone.